Hey fam, how y'all doing? Hope all is well. Thank you for tuning in to the channel. Really appreciate that. Today I'm going to talk to you about, I've had some inquiries about this off-grid living and this lifestyle that we've been doing. And then I've had some questions about, how did you go about this? How did you all make this conclusion? And what were the steps? And what are some of the lessons that you've learned? So we're going to take a little time to talk about those things, and y'all stay tuned. So for our first question, why did we decide to do this off-grid in this journey? We decided to do this basically because we were tired of the rat race. We was tired of being a part of this systematic piece where everything that we did, it was consumed. And we kept feeding into this system upon system upon system. We were simply sick of it. And so we said, how could we no longer do this? We're not rich people. We're barely making ends meet, and how can we kind of stop this cycle? So the first thing that we made the conclusion is we're gonna have to do something we've never done before. We're gonna have to do something that many of you all, you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of assets, you don't have a lot of different things because you're just maintaining. We've been raising kids. We finally got our kids to an age where we knew they can be somewhat self-sufficient. We only had one daughter at the time who was still in school. And so we said, hey, what do we need to do? And this is the time. If we're going to take the time out, now's the time. So we made the decision to do it then. I get it. It might not have been the best time based on our daughter's high school, but at that time she wasn't in school. We were doing homeschooling. So it was the perfect time. So we decided to make that move at that particular time.
My hands now, play it back, I still can't seem to figure out.
Capital. The only way that we really were able to obtain the capital was to liquidate our assets. We took just about everything that we could possibly take, including our homes, except for some of our retirement. We didn't touch our retirement, right? So we took our homes, we took cars, we sold different things, and we had another additional property that we've been sitting on that we really wasn't doing anything with. We sold that too as well.
Came and we became a mosaic here on the ground. Baby, I can't seem to trace it. We went from weightless to dragging our feet.
Now with that said, we had a game plan, but keep in mind, if you follow our journey, I encourage you, if you haven't followed the journey, please follow our journey. We've documented a lot of this stuff on this channel, Eco Neighbors channel, and as well as GG Naturals Homestead channel. So it didn't work as we planned. The deal fell through. We sold our home. We didn't have a place to go, so we had to come up with plan B. One thing I will tell you, if you are considering doing this off-grid living, you are considering taking this chance, be prepared for plan B, for plan C, plan D. You have to pivot. No matter what comes your way, you have to pivot. Don't get so alarmed that you feel like you got to give up. There's still hope.
The floor, lost in translation, I keep on chasing who we were before. Tell me it's alright, tell me we're alright, tell me that you and I have a chance. Oh, tell me it's alright, tell me we're alright. Swear I traded all to get us.
During the time we were looking for that second home, that second opportunity to buy that land, the real estate market was through the roof. The real estate market was through the roof. we had said, well, maybe until we can get that ideal piece of land, because we don't know where this land will be at, maybe we just need to buy a house. So we did try buying a house. We put in offers on at least 1 or 2 houses each week. And we found out that we were getting outbidded every single time. Every single time we get outbidded by 30, 40, 50, even $80,000, even though we put in above asking price. Thank God we didn't get into that, because we would have been buying something well overvalued. So
don't know how to talk to you the way that I used to do. Nothing but negative space in our living room. Try to shrug it off, say it's nothing, but we both know that just isn't true. Baby, I can't seem to trace it. This love was sacred, now it's got our knees on the floor. Lost in translation, if we're way past saving, then what's it all for? Tell me it's alright, tell me we're alright, tell me that you and I have a chance. Oh, tell me it's alright, tell me we're alright. Swear I traded all to get us back again. Back again.
the next thing, you definitely want to find a realtor that specializes in land. If you're talking about raw property, because our ideal was we want to find raw property. We knew we couldn't afford to pay cash for a home with decent amount of land. We either had to do one or the other. Either we had to buy the land or we had to buy the home with no land. But we wanted to have freedom, we wanted to have space. So we knew that we wanted to buy the actual property. And yeah, I know a lot of you all say, well, why didn't you just finance and just put a large down payment? The whole idea was for us to be free. We didn't know what we was getting into. We did not know that it was so much cost in developing raw land. We knew there was cost, but everything was inflated. Service industry was like booming at the time. They could just name their price, they could just name their number, and they did. And so a lot of things we definitely paid, but guess what? The price have not gone down. The prices are still continue to rise. So we have no regrets, and sometimes you just have to do what you have to do during that time period, okay? Another thing, make sure while you're looking for your home, while you're in your temporary space, think about where will you be in your temporary space if you don't have a home. If you want to travel a little bit, think about ways that you want to travel, whether it's an RV, whether you want to do a van, whether you want to buy a van, whether you want to lease a vehicle. Think about those things and budget for those things. Try to live as lean as possible because you want to maximize your investment. Because remember, cash is king when it comes to real estate. We found our property. We found the property. We put in an offer for the property. The offer was rejected. And then another offer came in and we countered offer with another offer. So we did the 1-2 punch and we gave a full asking price. The full asking price gave us that piece of property. We have no regrets because we knew that the price that they asked for was fair and it was marketable. So we did not feel like we were slighted. We felt like we got a great price. And if one thing about when you're buying land, if you buy land in large volumes, if you buy land in bulk, as far as multiple acres, the larger the acres, typically the cheaper your per acre cost comes. Now in the state of Florida, sometimes that can vary because there's a high demand for this real estate. So just keep that in mind, do your market research. One tip is do not spend all of your capital just to purchase the land. If you have raw land, or even if you have something structure or infrastructure on there, expect to redo the well, expect to redo the septic tank. If there's a septic tank, expect to redo electrical and a lot of other things. You're gonna need cash. You're definitely gonna need cash. So make sure you have, if you have, just say $100,000, do not put the whole 100,000, don't put $90,000. Leave yourself at least 25%, some type of flexibility that you can do work to get on your land. Another thing you definitely want to consider, before you purchase that land, do your research. Make sure that land is based on the use. Know why you need that land. Know exactly the reason why what you want to do and your intent. Whether you want to build a community, whether you want to do agriculture, whether you want to do a homestead, whether you want to do Airbnb, make sure that you can do that before you buy that land, because some of these properties will not allow you to do commercial transactions, will not allow you to do a lot of different things. So you may have some great ideas and some great concepts, but make sure that land you're able to do that. And you can go down to your county courthouse. You can also go down to your planning and to your zoning, whichever county that piece of property in. Make sure that you don't check with your local wherever you are. If you're not buying land in that county, don't check with the county that you live in, but check with the county that you're purchasing that land. Take those days off and do that investigative work before you buy that land. Now the magical question is it cheaper for you to be off-grid or to actually be in the system and the systematic pieces? It really depends. It really depends on your lifestyle. It really depends on what you're doing. There is a change of lifestyle if you do plan to be off-grid, but you have that option. You have the option where you don't really have a lot of different things depending on your financial situation, but you have the option to decide and dictate what things you want to do, versus in a lot of communities and cities that's already developed, you don't have a choice. You must have electrical on a home. You must have certain requirements as far as landscaping and all of those different things. Those costs, they come with the territory. So make sure that you decide how you want to live your life. If you are thinking about going off grid, be prepared to invest in the infrastructure. So with all the tools, all the things that you need, and don't just go one thing. Like a lot of people, they say, why didn't you just go solar? You can't just go one dimension, not one way, one source. You have to have a multiplicity of sources if you're off-grid living, because sometimes you got overcast days, sometimes your battery bank cannot recharge because of the amount of heat or the amount of energy that it requires to heat your facility or to actually cool your facility. So you want to definitely have propane, you want to have solar, you want to have power stations, you want to have any type of generators, whether they're gas or propane, and you want the more varieties that you have with your power source, the more you can truly be independent and you can dictate what you want to do, and it will teach you and your family to be very conscientious of the usage of your power that you use. Another question is, I don't own a home. I don't have a lot of assets. So how do I get started? How we got started with this journey, we purchased a small tract. I think our first tract was about half an acre. And then we took that piece of land, and then what we did, we used that piece of land as a down payment to build a structure on that particular land. Then once we obtained that home on that piece of land, we lived in it for quite some time. We lived in it for some years, maybe 5 or 6 years. Then after that period of time, we sold it. We took the equity out of that house to go build another house with maybe an acre, or I think it was 3/4 of an acre. Then we went there, and then later on we build. It's building blocks. It doesn't happen overnight in real estate if you don't have the resources, but you can obtain them. Just use your patience. And the younger you are, the better you are. So don't feel like you're locked in and you're isolated. I don't care whether you live in a big metropolitan area. If you can get yourself locked into a home, get a home. And if you're gonna stay there for at least 5 to 7, maybe 10 years that you feel, it's a great opportunity. I do it all over again? You better believe it. I'd do it all over again, and I would have did it at a younger age. I would say probably about the time when I was probably about 30, in my early 30s to maybe mid 30s, I would have definitely did this. This would have been a great opportunity, and we would be so much further along than we are now. But it's still no regrets, and it's never too late. But if you are around my age group, you definitely want to consider. You're probably going to need more capital because your physical depends on your physical health. It also depends on a lot of other things. So make sure that you set yourself up for a place of prosperity and a place of freedom. Owning your land is something amazing. It's freeing and it's empowering. You know you're not obligated to do anything for anyone else because you own your own land. All you have to do is pay your taxes. So that's a great thing. You can do your own parties, you can do whatever you want to, and you can decide where you want to play something. If you want to build an art gallery, you can build an art gallery. You can do whatever you want. It's a blank canvas. That is so freeing. And guess what? If you get enough land, you can walk outside and you won't have to be interrupted. You won't have to interact with people unless you want to interact with people. And if you want to throw a big party, you can throw a big party on your land.